Hi there, welcome to our channel. Before we start, please consider subscribing and leaving a like to support our work. Ever wondered what sparked the bloodiest conflict in South American history, the Triple Alliance War? To fully grasp the seeds of this war, we must journey back to the tumultuous political landscape of the mid-19th century. South America was rife with territorial disputes and political instability. The Brazilian Empire, under the helm of Dom Pedro II, harbored expansionist dreams, seeking to stretch its influence across the region. Meanwhile, in Paraguay, President Solano Lopez ascended to power, fiercely defending his nation's autonomy. The heart of their discord was the strategic Rio de la Plata region, a crucial gateway for trade and navigation. Paraguay, yearning for access to the sea and greater commercial autonomy, found itself at odds with Brazil and Argentina's interests. This bubbling cauldron of tension and ambition was a prelude to the inevitable clash. In 1864, these simmering tensions erupted into full-blown war, as Brazil, backed by Argentina and Uruguay, invaded Paraguay. The war was not a simple skirmish, but a brutal, drawn-out conflict that lasted for 5 long years. In the early days of the war, Brazilian and Argentine troops, buoyed by the support of Uruguay, marched into Paraguay, their sights set on domination. But the Paraguayan forces, despite being numerically inferior, were far from being pushovers. They mounted a resistance that was as fierce as it was unexpected, turning the invasion into an all-out war. The conflict quickly escalated, with the front lines shifting back and forth across the war-torn landscape. As the war machine churned, it left in its wake a trail of destruction marked by bloody battles and the tragic loss of civilian lives. Yet, amid the chaos and carnage, the Paraguayan forces held their ground, refusing to yield to the invading forces. One of the key battles that defined the course of the war was the Battle of Curupaiti. In September of 1866, the Allied forces launched a massive assault on the Paraguayan stronghold of Curupaiti. But the Paraguayans, under the leadership of their astute generals, had prepared for this. They dug trenches and employed innovative strategies that turned the tide of the battle in their favor. The Allied forces were caught off guard, suffering heavy casualties in what turned out to be one of the bloodiest battles of the war. As the war raged on, it became clear that this was not just a battle for territory, it was a struggle for survival, a test of resilience for the Paraguayan people. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and out-resourced, but they refused to be outdone. They held out against the Allied forces, turning what was expected to be a swift victory for the Allied forces into a protracted war of attrition. And so, the war raged on, each passing day bringing with it a fresh wave of casualties and an ever-deepening sense of despair. Yet, amid the gloom, the spirit of the Paraguayan people shone through, their determination serving as a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Despite being outnumbered and out-resourced, Paraguay held its ground, leading to a war of unprecedented devastation. The war took a heavy toll on Paraguay, leaving the country and its people in ruins. The relentless onslaught of the Triple Alliance raged on, year after brutal year, until the land of Paraguay, once teeming with life, was reduced to a battlefield strewn with the wreckage of war. The cost of this conflict was unimaginably high, with the death toll reaching staggering proportions. An estimated 60% of Paraguay's male population perished in the war, a loss so devastating it resonates through to this day. The once vibrant cities and towns were left in ruins, their infrastructure decimated. The economy, which had once shown promise of growth and prosperity, was shattered, leading to years of hardship and struggle for the survivors. The devastation didn't stop at the physical destruction of the country. The war also marked the end of an era in Paraguay's history. President Solano Lopez, who had once been a beacon of hope for Paraguay's independence and autonomy, met his end on the battlefield. His vision for a powerful, self-sufficient Paraguay was extinguished along with his life, leaving a void in the leadership of the country and a deep sense of loss among his people. The overwhelming scale of the devastation caused by the Triple Alliance War has led many historians to label it as one of the largest genocides in Latin American history. This term, genocide, underscores the calculated brutality of the war and the profound impact it had on the Paraguayan people. It is a harsh reminder of the human cost of conflict and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition and aggression. The war finally ended in 1870, but the scars it left were deep and long-lasting. The physical destruction was immense, but perhaps even more significant was the psychological impact on the survivors. The trauma of the war, the loss of loved ones, the displacement, and the struggle to rebuild lives and communities out of the ashes of destruction have all left indelible marks on the collective memory of Paraguay. The aftermath of the war was just as devastating as the conflict itself. Paraguay, once a burgeoning nation, was left in ruins. The cost of war was not confined to the battlefield alone, it echoed through the halls of homes and reverberated through the lives of generations to follow. The struggle to rebuild was monumental. Paraguay had to nurse its wounded, rebuild its cities, and mend its broken spirit. It was a nation in mourning, grieving for its lost sons and a future that was never to be. Yet in the face of such suffering, the resilience of the Paraguayan people shone through. They rebuilt, they healed, and they remembered. The memory of the war is a painful one, a testament to the horrors of conflict. But it is a memory that must be kept alive, a reminder of the cost of ambition and the value of peace. In remembering the Triple Alliance War, we are reminded of the horrors of conflict and the importance of peace.